everyone, this is our last video on the exponent rules, and I'm just going to kind of mix all the rules together and we're just going to practice doing them all at once, okay? So let's see, let's start with 2v to the negative third power over 2v to the fourth power, all to the power of 0. So if you want to pause the video and try and solve this yourself quick, go ahead. Okay, so this one we really don't even have to do anything. Because this is all to the power of 0, anything to the 0 power is 1. So our answer is 1. Okay, and that's all you have to do for that one. Let's do some more. Okay, so let's say we have r to the negative second power over 3r to the 0 power all to the second power all squared. So go ahead and pause this one and try and solve this real quick, and then I'll solve it with you. Okay, so there's a couple things you can do first. I am going to simplify what's in here and then I'm going to square it, but you could distribute this squared to each of the things inside if you'd rather. So I'm going to pretend that's not there for now, and I'm going to move these down to the denominator and add it on with this one. And since there's 0 here and there's 2 there, when I move it down, it will be 3r squared, because adding 2 to 0 down here would give you 2. And then since I took everything away from that numerator, I'm left with a 1. And then I still have my squared out there. Okay, so this squared means I can either write this twice, and I could do 1 over 3r squared times 1 over 3r squared, or I can take this square and I could distribute it to each of the things that are inside my parentheses. And I usually do it that way just because I think it's shorter, but if this way is better for you to understand, you could do it that way. So 1 squared, well, that's just going to be 1 because 1 times 1 is 1. And then 3 squared, that's going to be 9. And then r squared squared, so we're going to take those 2's and we're going to multiply them to get 4. So you should have got 1 over 9r to the fourth power. And remember, we don't want any negatives in our answer, and we don't want to have any of the same letters or variables in the numerator and denominator. That means we didn't reduce it all the way. If you chose to do it this way, 1 times 1 is 1, 3 times 3 is 9, and then r squared times r squared. Remember, when you're multiplying, you actually add the exponents, and that's really where you'll get the same answer, r to the fourth power. Okay, I know these are a lot of work. We would probably spend 2 to 3 days practicing these types of problems in class. So take it slow. If you need to look over and watch this video more than once, do that, and then I will attach some Delta math practice after this for you to practice on your own. Okay, so let's do 4x squared times 2x over 8x squared. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try and solve this. Okay. So what I would do first is I would simplify what we have on the top by doing the product rule, and then I'm going to look at that. So 4 times 2 is 8, and we have 2 x's here and 1 x here, which would give us a total of 3 over 8x squared. Okay, so these 8's are going to cancel because 8 over 8 is equal to 1. And then we basically have 3 x's on top and 2 x's on bottom. So remember, when we did the quotient rule, we had 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and then we canceled them out. So the answer to this whole problem is just x. There's just 1 x left in the numerator, okay? And then you could also think 3 minus 2 would just give us 1. Okay, let's do like maybe 2 more examples at least. Okay. Okay, here's a tricky one. 2x to the negative fourth power, all to the power of negative 1 over 3x squared. Okay, pause the video and try and solve this one. Okay, so let's see. I would probably distribute this to both of the things in here. Okay, so 2 to the negative first power is going to be 2 to the negative 1. And then, because there's secretly a 1 out here, remember when there's not anything written, there's a 1. And then negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. So then I'm going to have x to the 4th power. And then I'm going to have this 3x squared on the bottom. Okay, so now I've got to do some rearranging. We do not want those negative exponents, so I'm going to take this 2 to the negative 1 power, and I'm going to move it down to the denominator, and it's going to be 2 to the positive 1 power, which is just 2. So I still have this x to the 4th power up in my numerator, and then 2 times 3 is 6, and then we still have this x squared down here. Okay, we're almost done. I'm just going to rewrite it down here. X to the 4th over 6x squared. Okay, we have 4 x's up top, 2 x's down below. So 2 of those are going to cancel, and I'm going to have 2 left in the numerator, and then I'm going to have that 6 down there still in the denominator. So my answer is x squared over 6. Okay, let's do another one. And like I said, if this is really confusing, feel free to join me on my Tuesday Google Hangout, and we can do some more of these if you want to, or you could get a small group of friends, or even just one-on-one, and I'd be happy to set up a Google Meet with just 1 or 2 or 3 people. Okay, let's do 2x squared times 3x to the 4th over 4x squared to the negative 3rd power. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try this. Okay, so let's see. Since we have this product rule going on up here, I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to look at this down here. And there's a couple ways to do this. I'm just thinking of how I would solve this. So 2 times 3 is 6. And I have 2 x's here and 4 x's here, which would give me a total of 6. Okay, now I'm going to kind of simplify what's here in the denominator by distributing this negative 3 to all the terms inside of there. So 4 has a 1 out in front of it. So we're going to have 4 to the negative 3rd power. And then 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. So we're going to have x to the negative 6th power. Okay, so remember, we don't want anything to be negative. So since these are negative in the denominator, they're going to move up to the numerator and become positive. So this is going to come up here. We're going to have 4 cubed. And this is going to come up here, and we're going to have positive x to the 6th. Okay, I'm going to just erase what the problem was so I have a little more room. Okay, so I have 4 cubed times 6. So that just is kind of messy. So I'm going to use my calculator and go 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. And then I'm going to multiply that by 6, just so I'm simplifying everything. And I got the number 384. So 384. And then I have 6 x's here and 6 x's here, which would give me a total of 12. So your final answer would be 384, x to the 12th. Okay, let's do another one. And this is probably as hard as it's going to get. These are like end of 8th grade problems, and then next year you guys will practice this more, but it'd be a good idea to have a little intro. Okay, let's just do one more. Let's do n cubed over 3n parenthesis to the 4th power times 4n to the negative 4th power. Okay, so go ahead and pause the computer and try this one on your own. Okay, since I don't really have anything going on up top, I'm just gonna rewrite that n cubed, and I'm gonna solve this. Okay, so since both of these inside here are to the 4th power, I need to distribute that 4th to both of those. So I'm gonna have 3 to the 4th and do the 4th. Okay, and then this one is times 4n to the negative fourth. Okay, so I'm gonna use the product rule and I'm gonna go, what is 3 to the fourth times 4? So I'm actually gonna do 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 81, and then times 4, which gives me 324 in the denominator. Okay, and then I have n to the fourth and n to the negative fourth. And remember, when we're doing the product rule and the base is the same, you add the exponents. So 4 plus negative 4 is 0, and anything to the 0 power is 1. So I could write out here times 1, but 324 times 1 is just 324. So I don't really need to write that. So this is my final answer. It's n cubed over 324. So there's a lot of rules to go with exponents. So I'm going to attach, or after this on my website, I'm going to put a Delta Math activity for you to just practice your exponent rules all together one more time. And then you can go ahead and take the assessment I have. And remember, if you don't do well, I'll communicate that with you and I'll give you another opportunity to retake it because I don't want your grade to go down. I can't see you in person, okay? All right, practice these exponent rules. Good job.